show is 3 dimensions away from Dr. Seuss still being a better writer than the author of Twilight. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, released in 1966. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas is the only Dr. Seuss adaptation of the Grinch actually made by Dr. Seuss, along with Chuck Jones and several others. Basically, this movie is a cartoon that is a tie-in to the book, because the book came out, was really successful, so they adapted the book into a cartoon. And the cartoon, of course, is still the best Christmas cartoon people still watch till this day. I mean, I even wearing a Grinch t-shirt because it's so iconic. If you go to Walmart right now, you can see Grinch stuff everywhere. I mean, I went to Walmart and it was like just a giant display of Grinch stuff. And of the cartoon, because that's still a relevant cartoon. People still watch and love that. The cartoon, of course, is directed by Chuck Jones and Ben Washman. Chuck Jones, you might know, who created Bugs Bunny and all the Looney Tunes characters. And from a screenplay by Dr. Seuss himself. Ooh. The movie stars Boris Karloff, June Foray, Thurux Oak Ravencroft, and Dallas McKinnon. The movie, special, should I say, is essentially about the Grinch, of course, seeing how the Whoville is celebrating Christmas and everything and thinks it's all about gifts. And so he becomes all the noise, and he's just distraught by that noise. And he's just saying that it feels like they're mocking him almost with all this noise and all this joyfulness and everything, and he has no one. So essentially he wants to go and destroy their Christmas and show them how shallow he is. He wants them to feel the emptiness and the void just like him. Well, and so apparently he plots with his dog. Yes, that sounds ridiculous, but this is this plot. He plots with his dog to go and steal all their presents while they're sleeping, dressed as Santa Claus. And then, of course, he takes all their stuff, and, of course, they realize after then that the meaning of Christmas is not about, it's about coming together. It's about family. It's about, celebrating, there's more important stuff than just presents. And I like that is the meaning of it, and I really respect that, and I think that meaning has had such an effect to where you cannot watch like a family sitcom or something where there's a Christmas episode where something happens to all their gifts and they're like, well, we have each other, like that's always been the meaning of this and some other things, because that is really what the meaning of Christmas is. It's really about Jesus Christ, but still, it's also about it's the importance of being a family, and and really the gifts idea is more of like, hey, I'm giving because I love you. I'm giving you this, and so I like this ideology of, hey, we don't need gifts to celebrate Christmas, because Christmas is going to come whether you have a gift or not, and I think that's always what I like about Christmas. I also like celebrating it because, it's such a beautiful holiday, and obviously I am a Christian, and so basically, I love, I celebrate because of Jesus, but I also like to celebrate Christmas as I love the whole festive of the Christmas tree and I love the presents, but I also like, wrapping up presents and shopping for people, and I also like to decorate Christmas lights outside, and drinking a warm hot cup of hot chocolate, and go looking at lights and stuff like that. That's my things, okay? And I really like that about Christmas. I really like watching these Christmas specials, and this one especially, because Christmas is such a good special, okay? Especially Chuck Jones, who go on like create Looney Tunes and stuff, would help develop this cartoon for Dr. Seuss and make it one of the greatest Christmas specials to this day. Like, you can't go up to one person and say, hey, have you ever seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas? And they're going to tell you yes, because that is like a universally loved cartoon. I mean, I have not seen one person on earth that would think, oh man, it's terrible. Because it's like 26 minutes long, and it still works. Every year it still comes on TV. Every year people are watching it and playing, like they're like buying board games from it, or they even made like 2 films out of this movie, because this is such a beloved cartoon. I mean, Boris Karloff, who played Frankenstein, would be the narrator of the whole special, and he would also voice the Grinch. That to me is clever. It's beautiful. I love it. I mean, like, this is something clever. I really like this idea. And, the whole animation of it, especially, like, how all the characters are drawing. And there also has some great transition shots. Like, when the Grinch is seeing, like, them, like, playing on all their toys and everything, and how, like, they're beating drums, and how it transitions into the Grinch's eyes. That, to me, was clever. I thought that was great transition shots. And there is several, like, shots that are, like, aimed, like, where the Grinch is looking down at Max as the sled's about to come down. Like, those are some great shots as well. I also like that, the idea that, it has some great, like meanings and purposes of this movie, of course. And I also like that, how Boris Karloff plays his Grinch is like he's just mean and he's evil, and I just like how he's portrayed that way. And also, the book he was just gray because the book's all black and white. The Grinch was gray in the book, but then when it came to cartoon, they got Dr. Seuss' permission to change him green, and so they did that. And so that kind of became the tradition because the Grinch is actually gray in the book, but they changed him to black and to green in the movie. And that became the tradition onward, and because mean green, and so basically, and I also like how the Cindy Lou Who is like, Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? And how the Grinch just thinks it's something clever, and then of course, and like that Cindy Lou Who is like has like less than 5 minutes of like screen time, but then she's such a prominent character where in the two movies they make her a centered character, and I think that's that's great because she is like the kind of like that second half to where the Grinch actually considers, should I steal this tree? Should I actually continue doing these horrible things I'm doing? And then, he of course continues, but like he actually has a self-doubt reflection of himself for a second, and also he's trying to think of like, how can I, he's trying to think of, should I do this? And also, how can I get out of this? And so, and at the same time, so I thought that was pretty clever. I mean, it's a simple story, but it has so much purpose as the most Christmas movies. This is like 26 minutes long, and this actually has depicted the Grinch and has told that story faithfully than any other movie. Like, I love the Ron Howard Jim Carrey movie, but that movie's not as faithful compared to this. That's what my friend Jacob Martin was telling me he was saying like, I like this one the best because this is perfect because it understands the message of Christmas, understands the message of everything, compared to the Jim Carrey one where it's like, because all the Who's are basically shopping and they're like, it's become like they're all people, selfish and all that stuff, and he's like, I don't like that. That's not the whole point of Dr. Seuss's work. He doesn't need it because it's like, and he's kind of like, like, what? Like, you stole the present and then they're all happy about it? Like, no. Like, if you watch the beginning, they're going to be upset because they spent money on that, And also, the cartoon, the one that Benedict Cumberbatch made, I don't like that one, and Jacob has mixed feelings on it. And I was just telling him, like, I don't like that one, and we're just going back and forth on it because he's like, well, there's some things he likes about it. But then I'm like, I feel like this is the perfect one mainly because it had Dr. Seuss involved, and you also had the creator of Looney Tunes involved, and it was just lightning in a bottle. And you also have this great hand drawn stuff, and you have great music that also Dr. Seuss had to help in, like "You Are a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." Like that is literally, if you play a Grinch movie, any Grinch movie, that's always a song. If you ever listen to Christmas music, that's always a song on a Christmas list because everyone knows it. I mean, the Grinch is such a beloved character. Even though he's like, really he's like, it's a one story note. Like, he steals Christmas and then he returns everything at the end. But then, they have made sequels to this story. Like they made Halloween as Grinch Night, and they also made like the Cat in the Hat versus the Grinch. Like these animated cartoons, which I believe neither Chuck Jones nor Dr. Seuss had any involvement in. It was just made by other people. Although I heard Halloween is Grinch Night actually won an Emmy, so it might actually, people are saying it's actually not bad. It's actually pretty good, but it's something that Dr. Seuss State was not proud of. But yeah, this is a clever story in a way. This is clever. It really is a meaningful story, and I think that if you are a fan of the Grinch and the story, I recommend you should definitely check it out. I mean, if you've never seen it, it's just such a wonderful story, and I think Boris Karloff is wonderful. The voice cast is wonderful. The animation, hand drawn, is just so beautiful. I wish they'd make more cartoons like this. I really think we need 2D animation bad, and I just think this music, everything's perfect about this, and even as a TV, I'm gonna grade it like a movie. If I had to give this movie a grade, I will give it an A+. Thank you.
A wonderful, awful idea.